Welcome to the How Did Show, where interesting people answer the questions, how did I get here? And how in the hell did I get here? With your host, Donovan Corneets.
What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me on another great episode of the How Did Show. And we got a really cool one for you today. So let me tell you a little bit about my guest. So my guest is a radio personality, entrepreneur, 3-time best-selling author. Now, after helping people write their own books for years, he's founded Blooksy.com, which is a system that helps make writing your own books simple. He's an expert software guy and a lover of all things New Orleans. So y'all show some love for my dog, AJ.
What up? Who
that?
What's going on, brother? How you doing?
Throw who that in there. I see that. I'm great, man. Thank you so much for spending this time with me, for being on the show. How are you doing today?
Man, I'm amazing, bro. I'm just I'm flattered that you had me on, man. I definitely appreciate what you're doing. I took a chance to watch a couple of your shows, man. You're doing an amazing job, brother. So I appreciate you having me on.
Man, thank you so much. Look at this guy right from the beginning. Flattery will get you everywhere, man. All right, look. So we're gonna jump right into this thing, man, because I'm really happy to have you on. So yeah, I'm ready to jump right into it. So, as you know, this is the How Did Show. So the first order of business is answering the question, how did I get here? So let the people know, how did you get here?
You know what, bro? It's been a long journey, brother. So my professional background was software development. So went to Southern University, Baton Rouge, the number one HBCU in the world.
Here we go. Had to throw it out there.
And so actually, I came to Atlanta during Freaknik, 90. So I'm going to age myself a little bit. Came during Freaknik, and I was like, whoa. But came to Atlanta before the Olympics, like way back then. And I think one of my first corporate gigs actually was working at Georgia Tech in IT, right? Okay. And as at the time there weren't very many people that looked like us working in IT, but I was fortunate enough to have a role in sort of a lead position. So I managed the IT department and started out on doing software support. And my personality was such that I got along with everyone. So my manager at the time, Bernie, is an amazing guy. He said, listen, why don't we start getting you into business analysis? And so I transitioned into business analysis, which is understanding what the clients want and then communicating what they wanted to the software development team. So I was sort of like the liaison, right?
Okay.
And essentially that led from, business analysis to eventually software project manager. And then essentially I ended up doing software solutions. And what that means is I talked to people in organizations, mostly corporations at the time, and whatever problem they had, I would figure out what type of software solution we could build to solve that problem. Okay. And as a result of that, I managed nearshore and offshore and local software development teams. And sort of a parallel life that I lived. I went to broadcasting school. This is back in 2003 at the time. So Atlanta, everybody has a side hustle, right? So one of my side hustles was I started doing event marketing. So that's a fancy word to say promoter.
I was gonna say, yeah. Promoting. You promote like parties and stuff,
nightclubs, parties, and that worked though, right? Because number one, my day job was sort of nerd thing, and my night job was my social life, and I got to know a lot of amazing people in politics and business, and that was important at the time because I established a lot of relationships, and eventually, after almost 2 decades, I ended up leaving corporate America. And I started my own marketing agency because, again, I was already doing promotion. So I sort of formalized it. I understood technology. So it gave me a certain level of visibility into how you could leverage technology to grow your marketing sort of before the whole digital marketing craze of the last probably 7 or 8 years. Right. So I started doing things a decade ago, helping people launch podcasts, such as what we're doing now. Helping people write and publish books. I was working with people who were influential before the word influencer was a thing. So I was
he was ahead of the curve.
Like, man, 10 years ago.
20 different things. Okay.
Yeah. So, and again, it was definitely sort of right place, right time, right decision. And so one of the turning points, though, was I wrote a book called Instagram Marketing on Fire. And as fate would have it, bruh, the book came out right around the same time Facebook bought Instagram. So
Wow,
I ended up selling thousands of copies of this book. And very quickly, what I realized is like, yo, let me just hurry up and do this. So instead of trying to write the rest of the books myself, I hired a ghostwriter.
Okay.
And I had a ghostwriter write a book called Instagram Marketing for Beauty Shops and Barber Salons. Then the week later, I did Instagram Marketing for restaurants. So I started just banging it out like that, right?
Okay.
So of course, I marketed each one to the niche. People started buying those. And someone asked me, man, how the hell are you writing all these books? So I wrote the process down, gave it to a friend, and they attempted to write a book, but there were a few steps missing. So eventually I wrote a book called Stop Bullshitting and Write Your Book.
Love the title.
And again, and the other thing was, bro, I sort of just went with what was working. You know what I mean? So I wrote that book, and then I started giving that book away and helping people write books. So I would give them the book for free. Actually, you can still get it for free right now if you go to ajsfreebook.com. But I would give people the book for free. And then they would say, yo, instead of me trying to do this myself, can I pay you to do it? So I started having book writing workshops. And I'm going to skip a lot of it, right? But I'm on a show called the Willie Moore Jr. Show. It's actually the number one faith-based drive time show in the country right now. And we're in 30 plus markets. And I started doing something called Books Across America. So I would literally go to every market that we're in, Detroit, 2 markets in Texas, Louisiana. I'd go to different markets and I would do book writing workshops. So that became a business model prior to the pandemic. But of course, it's the big pause button in everybody's life. The pandemic happened and I couldn't travel anymore, right?
Right.
So I took all those people, 250 or so, and I threw them into a Facebook group and started working with them that way, sort of remotely. And they said, AJ, can we just pay you to do it instead of you coaching us through the process? So I started a publishing company. And if you notice, bro, there's just sort of like going with the flow, right?
Yeah, go with the flow. I like it. And people are just saying like, hey, can I just pay you to do this? I mean, can't go wrong with that.
Right. You're listening for the problem that you can solve. And I think that's the overarching theme of my life. I figured out how I could help people. And through helping people has led me to a pretty, fun life. But anyway, so people asked me, could they just pay me to publish their book? So I started a publishing company, hired account reps, hired editors, hired book cover designers. And Donovan, I hated it, literally hated it from day one.
Wow.
Hated it, right? And I've helped over 240 people write and publish books, but I really hated it. So what happened is one of my real dear friends, her book launch went to shit. Like, excuse my language. It was terrible, right? Like my team messed it up. Yeah, my team messed it up. And if she was a dear friend of mine, so when she called me, I knew something was wrong because it was Friday evening. The night she called me, I said, I don't want to do this anymore. So I started mapping out. I guess the first question I said was, why isn't there software to do this instead of doing it manually? So I started looking around for software, and there was software, but the software out there was focused on storytelling, right? It's this the 3-act structure of storytelling, the hero's journey, like all these different storytelling,
the resolution,
the resolution, right? All that stuff. Well, I wanted my software to focus on efficiency. How can I very quickly help Donovan take an idea that's in his head and get it onto paper as quickly as possible? So here's what I did. The process that I taught in my workshops was, Donovan, you're the expert. If I said, Donovan, can you write a book on telling someone how to launch a podcast? You would say, oh, yeah, right?
Yeah, right.
You give us 10 steps. Well, Donovan, those 10 steps will become the 10 chapters, right?
Okay.
And then I'd say, okay, what's step 1? And I'd say, tell me a story about the first time you did step 1, what everybody should look out for. So you tell me a story. And then I'd say, well, what are the things that you do to fix that and make sure step 1 is successful? Then you tell me the process. I'll say, okay, let's go to step 2. Well, I would record people telling that story and I would send it to a site called rev.com.
Okay.
Rev.com would transcribe it. And that would become the dirty version of the first chapter. And rinse and repeat, right?
Okay.
So I was able to help people get books done very quickly. Well, what I did with my software is I duplicated that process. So in my software, you can very quickly create chapters, right? There's a quick chapter creation. You click add, name your chapter, click add, name the next chapter. Then in each chapter, there's a notes section for your stories. What's the stories in here? What's the process here? What's the lesson learned here? Boom, go to the next chapter. What's the story? Then after you do that, you click on record because there's a transcription in there. You click on the record and you tell the story to the software. It automatically transcribes it for you, right? Then after you do that, you click on the artificial intelligence. If you want more detail, the artificial intelligence will go out and write original content for you. So you type in stuff, you type the subject, you type the description, and you type in some keywords. It will write it for you. I've had people, and we're about a year in now, but people have written their entire first draft in 72 hours. I've had someone finish that, but that's using artificial intelligence. But if you don't want to use the AI, you want to use the voice to text. I've had someone finish in 5 days. Right? Because again, once you organize your stories in your head, all you got to do is talk.
You just got to talk. Hey, look, I get paid to talk. Man, now I'm like, man, I need to get a voiceover book going or something.
Let me just say this today, bro. I met with a company today, and it's a podcasting company, and they do what they call marketing minutes. 670 marketing minutes that they've done, right? They signed up today. They're copy pasting all their marketing minutes that they did on their podcast because they have it transcribed. Copy and pasting it into the software, and they'll have some books out very quickly because that's what I built the software to do.
That's
right?
Incredible, man.
So that's how I got here, brother.
Wow. No, that's incredible, man. Like I have been curious because I was going to kind of dig a little bit more into the details of I didn't know the details, but I know you've been helping people write their own books. And of course, with your book, but I didn't realize the level of it. So that's really impressive, man. So is that kind of like your I guess that's your baby, right? Did you actually get into the nitty gritty of programming, or did you kind of work with the team? And
so I did I mapped it out first on my wall. Then I used a wireframing tool called Balsamic, where I could go in and create what it looks like.
Okay.
Then I hired a team to come in and code the back end because I don't.
Okay. Yeah, I don't code it.
Absolutely.
Okay. No, that's really great. That's impressive. And I mean, I've been kind of, if I may, kind of fighting with myself about, and a lot of people have requested it, about my voiceover journey and kind of how I got to where I am in VO. And they're like, man, you got to have a book. You should have a book, man, because you should tell some good stories and you got, a really unique approach to things. And I was like, yeah, but like, I don't have the time to like try to sit in and work with somebody. But now you're telling me like, I just got to say it. Like I talk anyway.
You talk anyway. And then the other thing is it positions you differently, right? Because even in 2022, although people don't read books like that, they still respect them, right? Because if you're at an event and you're on the stage and you have an ebook, people are like, oh, okay, you got an ebook.
Published author, that holds some status, man.
It holds published author will get you on Good Morning America, right?
Right.
Ebook won't get you on Good Morning America.
Right, for sure.
Right. So it distinguishes you as an expert because what it says subconsciously is this dude has done the work to organize it, structure it, research it, put it in the book. And if you think about it, bro, if you're moving to a new city and you saw two real estate agents, one person had a billboard, the other person had a book on the best neighborhoods, the best schools, the best this and that.
You trust them.
You trust them more, right? So it's a trust building thing, and it increases your rates because, again, I worked as a consultant for years, and having a book, it literally sets you apart. And I've helped clients do it, so I know because I've seen it happen.
We're gonna have to talk. We're gonna have a chat off camera, and I'm very serious about that. So, really quick as an offshoot. So, obviously, you've been involved with software and with technology, IT, and now with helping people write their books. If you could say, like, if not this, what else could you see yourself doing if this never materialized, or like a dream job that doesn't involve you being like a coach on the Saints or something? I'm sure that would be up there.
Speaking of the Saints, I actually had 3 years ago. Was it 3 years ago? Met with Alvin Kamara to help build his personal brand. So that's what I was doing. I was actually working with TV personalities, radio personalities. I spent 3 years working in the music industry. I think probably the most prominent person people may know is Carrie Hilson. Did some work with her. But what I enjoy, honestly, is working with people who are passionate about what they do. They've invested time in building a brand that has some gravity, and helping them figure out how to build revenue streams for their brands. That's literally what I was hand passed from person to person in the entertainment industry doing that. I really enjoy that. But the downside of that is you become known as the do person, if that makes sense. So in other words, I'm from a small town, right? So relationships to me are everything, right?
Absolutely, yeah.
And when you're working with people who are sort of influential and they've spent all this time doing things, you become a commodity to them almost at times, but with some people, right?
I see what you're saying.
And I have a hard time separating, like, I'm spending all this time with you building out your stuff. I'm thinking that there's some relationship there, but what I realized very quickly is as soon as they got what they want,
they're done with you.
Deuces, you know what I mean?
Here's the check.
But again,
Peace.
and again, that's a me thing though, right? Some people are able to do that and not necessarily have the attachment. And it's not, I'm not needy or nothing like that.
You're like outside their front door. Hey man, I thought we was cool, baby.
Right. You ain't call me back. You ain't call nobody. But yeah. So but again, I'm huge in relationships. And because my business was very word of mouth / boutique, I was able to establish a lot of amazing relationships doing that. But you do get burnt out because people want to call you all the time when they have a question about anything, right? So there's a gift and a curse. The gift is you work with amazing people. You can make a lot of money doing that. The curse is, you're sort of looked at as the commodity.
Yeah. So what would your dream job be?
Dream job. That's a good question. So probably what I would really enjoy is having some sort of a school to teach kids, specifically boys, how to think through solving problems. Emotional intelligence, but specifically technology, right? Because what I'm doing, there's one other Black-owned software platform. It's called Calendly, that's owned by a Black man. He's actually here in Atlanta, actually in the same building that I'm in right now. But it's nice. A Black-owned platform.
I've heard of it. Yeah,
we're amazing content creators, but we don't own any platforms, right? So I would like to teach how to think in a way to where you can solve problems using technology and build something that scales. Because let me tell you something, bro. Software the multiple is 23x. And what that means is if my software is generating $1 million a year in revenue, the value is $23 million of the company.
Wow.
Right. Wow. Or on the low end, it's 10x. So if I'm generating 1 million, or if I'm generating $100,000 a year, it's $1 million company. Right. Wow. So if you think about that, bro, think about that. So if you think about how much Instagram, that's why you see these companies and they're like, how are they getting $1 billion for this company? Well, if they can see how to generate $100 million or $10 million,
wow,
the multiples are crazy, right?
Wow, I love
that's life-changing generational wealth.
Absolutely. Man, we really need to talk. But yeah, that's great. I think that would be incredible to be able to kind of instill that in the next generations. So that they kind of have that. And like you said, it's true of having so much content, so many things to contribute to the culture of the world, really. And like you said, not really owning many platforms. I know recently with fan base and what Isaac Hayes is building. But yeah, that's incredible. I never really thought about it that way, but that's very true. So yeah, man, shoot, let's put that on your wall. That wall is the same wall you put Blooksy on. It's going to be on that wall.
It's already on there, brother.
I love it, man. That's dope. Well, look, man, I hope that all goes well. I'd love to see that come to fruition. Well, look, thank you so much for that. Because I know I just learned a whole bunch. So I know anybody else watching this probably learned a lot about how that whole thing works and the scaling of it.
Absolutely.
Man, little emoji with the dollar signs. Well, look, so we're going to switch it up just a little bit.
Yep.
And now we're going to have a little bit of fun and we're going to spin
the wheel of what?
This bad boy out right here.
Let's do it, bro.
So I'm going to spin this wheel and whatever. Yeah, man. Yeah, this is official, man. What are you talking about? Well, spin this wheel, and whatever it lands on, you got to answer. All right.
Yes, sir. Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Hidden talent.
Hidden talent. Look, we're gonna spin again.
Let's spin again. Hidden talent again. No, I'm just joking. Topping.
All right. So
okay.
Topping.
What's what we talk about?
All right. So this is kind of a silly one. So first, it's a 2-stage question. So first, what is your favorite topping and or condiment?
Topping, probably Chick-fil-A sauce.
You know what?
If it's on French fries, because you can put that on French fries.
I got a bottle of it in the fridge right now.
Exactly. Now, if it's something sweet, I like caramel.
Okay. So we're gonna roll with. You'll see why this is gonna be tricky. So we gotta pick one. So we're gonna roll with that Chick-fil-A sauce because I'm with you on that. So now the second part of it is now you have to choose life on the line. You either have to put Chick-fil-A sauce on everything you eat for the rest of your life, or you can never have it again. Which do you choose?
I'm putting that shit on everything. Chicken, cereal,
dessert, no matter.
Dessert, beer.
You know of all the people, and you can go back and check. You're the first person that say, "I'll put it on everything, baby." Most people like, "Well, then I just never have it."
Run it. I put on beer, communion, like
sitting on top of the
right.
This is the body of Christ with a little bit of sauce on it.
This is the body.
Hilarious.
With a little Chick-fil-A sauce on it.
Okay.
Right.
I love that answer. I promise you. You're the first one that said, let's put it on everything. Oh, that's fantastic. And I promise you, I literally have a bottle of it. Once they started selling it in like Publix, I was like, what?
Exactly.
Are you kidding me?
Exactly.
Say less.
Exactly. Say less.
I didn't even look at the price because it didn't matter.
All right. You gotta have it.
How much is this? No idea, but it's worth everything.
Exactly. And I'm putting it on everything from now on.
Oh man, I love it. Okay. No, I wasn't expecting that. Usually people go the other way. So I love it, man. I love it. All right. So now we get to the that's still funny with the communion. That's great. So now we get to the second half, and this is you answering the question, how in the hell did I get here? And so this is you answering, or at least telling us a story about something that happened, something you were a part of, something that happened to you, an event that made you say, hold on, how in the hell did I get here? So what do you got?
Right. So in 2009, I started what's known to the underground as the Atlanta Fish Fry. It started on my front porch as a birthday party, and over 4 years, it eventually grew into a citywide event. It was a hilarious story. As a matter of fact, I have a book about it, and quiet is kept. I don't know when this podcast is coming out, so I'll tell you what, I can't really say that because the contract isn't signed yet, but I have a book coming out about it in February of 2023. So be on the lookout for that. But so it started out as a house party and it grew to a citywide festival sponsored by Clayton County. We had, at one point, we had it at a house and there was news helicopters and police helicopters and the interstate. It was crazy, bruh. And eventually it turns out the commissioner was there. And he was like, yo, who are you? And I was like, I'm just AJ, bro. But people love fish, right? People love fish, right? So it was a Louisiana style fish fry too. So we had, then eventually we partnered with the county. They gave us a budget. So we had a comedy show with like Carlos Miller and Zoo Man and like all those cats. Yep. Then we had a fireworks show. Then eventually it grew to where we had an old school concert with Chubb Rock, Slick Rick, DJ Cool. It was crazy, bro. It literally started as a 20-person birthday party and it turned into a citywide event. It was crazy.
So that's you sitting there like,
how did I get here? Exactly.
Like, Chubb Rock is performing like I was just like some friends over.
Wow. We got pictures to prove it, the whole nine, bro. It literally started as a small little get together and it grew.
So what stopped it?
Money.
Yeah.
So here's what happened at the last one. And I lost my shirt. So we had a budget, right? But event insurance was $5,000. So we were like, okay, do we get the event insurance or do we pay for the entertainment? And it was in the fall, right? It was actually Labor Day weekend. And it turns out it was the same day as like Luda Day weekend. It's a local event here in Atlanta.
Right.
So one year we had it and bro, it rained probably 5 hours during the whole setup in the first couple of hours. And it was down at the Atlanta Man-Made Beach. So there was an overturned tractor trailer. And if you go 75 south from Atlanta, there's only one or two ways to get there. You go 75 or you go 1941. Overturned tractor trailer had the entire interstate shut down. And we ended up losing our shirt, bro. I ended up owing like 12 grand or something like that. We paid it all back, of course, right?
Yeah. But
it just took forever. It took forever to pay it all back. So I ended up losing my shirt. And at the time, the missus was like, nah, bro, no more. At the time, done with this. Like, it's done. It's done. Empty my bank account. But I had a great time doing it, bro. So, but several times we were like, yo, how in the did we get here?
Damn, that's crazy. Yeah, start from like a little thing on your porch to fireworks and concerts.
We had horseback riding, concerts, news helicopters, police helicopters. I had to learn
horseback riding. I had to meet with the sheriff's department to talk about security. Damn. We had to meet with the fire marshals, like all. Of course, yeah. It really took its own. Exactly, it took a life of its own, bro. So that's one of those "how did we get here" moments.
Few moments later.
All right, so for anybody is watching and is like, wait a minute, what the hell? His background just changed. Yeah, he had to move to a different area to plug in the laptop. Yeah. All right, so we're good. So yeah, it's a different. Yeah, your eyes aren't playing tricks on you. But no, I was gonna say, like, that is really incredible to build something to that level where you got to get into like the legal stuff and security and fire marshal. I'm gonna tell you what happened to you with like the truck overturning and all that stuff. So I moved to the Atlanta area. Man, it's been 5 years. Yeah, it's 5 years ago, right? But when we were looking for houses, just to give you a story about stuff completely going bad unexpectedly, right? When we were looking for houses was in the spring of 2017, right? So the day we came down, the day before, we stayed at one of my wife's aunt's house. The very next day that we were going from where she lives on like up near Stone Mountain area and going all the way over to Mableton, right? So people that don't know, like this, you're talking at least like an hour drive
across the city. Yeah,
that's across. I live
in Mableton.
Look, that's across the city, basically 285, like the perimeter. Anyway, the day we went over there was the day that the bridge collapsed from the car being on fire under 75
on 85.
And so as you know, that caused traffic for like 100 miles because it completely shut down I-85. Like it's like unbelievable on that day. And so we were on the other side and we had to get back. And coincidentally, I had a voiceover client that needed me to record, and I didn't bring my mobile stuff because we were just going to look at a couple of houses.
Right, come right back. Yeah.
My agent's calling me like, look, you got like, they need you to do this. I'm like, well, I'm stuck. Like when I tell you, it would be like 30 minutes to move 20 feet. Like it was outrageous.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and because of that, I ended up, no joke, we pulled off at the closest exit we could get to. We had to drive on the shoulder just to get off an exit. Found like literally there was an actual dirt road, which I couldn't believe it. And like it was actually a dirt road somewhere off of 285. And we found this dirt road and I recorded into my cell phone using my wife's cell phone to read the script, right? And this is for like a cable TV promo, not like some local stuff. And I had my two kids in the back who were much younger than, like sneezing during the takes. I had to start over. I'm like, oh, come on, they in the car seat.
You got it done though.
Yeah, I got it done. And so I had to like download an app to record the audio. Then I had to download an app to convert the audio into like a WAV file.
Wow.
All because, and my agent was like, don't you dare tell them that you recorded this. Because I mean, literally just holding my phone like this.
Wow.
That's it. And so yeah, anyway, got it done, sent it to him, went on the air that night. No one said anything about it. But yes, it was one of those things where like you just had to make it happen. But talk about like the worst day to be on the other side of where you need to be and needed to get back. So the fact that you had a truck overturn and rain, like, come on.
Bro, well, here's the thing, bro. To your point, sometimes you're in a situation where you just got to get it done and there's no excuses, right? You just gotta make it happen. And in that instance, that speaks a lot to your ingenuity because a lot of people would have been like, I got to pass on this, right? But you were like, nah, I got to use my wife's phone. I got to find the app. And you got it done. And you know what I'm saying? And that, in my opinion, having been an entrepreneur for the last decade, that's the difference in the people who can make like sort of sustain versus the people who end up going back to something that they don't enjoy, right? It's the ability to push through no matter what, it could have turned out wrong, but you got it done, right?
Absolutely, man.
I mean, like you said, how the hell did you do it? You figured it out.
How the hell did I get man? That was the worst. I mean, right? Could you imagine? You remember how crazy that was, but that day was when we were stuck. Anyway. Wow. Well, look, man, thank you so much for sharing this time and being on the show. But before I let you go, let the people know what you got going on, plug what's happening, and how people can be in contact with you, on social media and what you got going on.
Absolutely, brother. Well, first of all, again, man, I appreciate you for doing this, brother. This has been a lot of fun, man. And thank you for what you're doing for the culture too, highlighting people who are trying to make things happen. So if you want to follow me on Instagram, I am at AJ Joyner. That's AJJOINER, most active there. If you're interested in writing a book, here's what I'm going to do. You can take a 50% off sign up for my software. Blooksy, it's BLOOKSY.com. Just put in half off forever, all one word, all lowercase. Blooksy.com, put in half off forever. You can sign up for $19. Your price will never go up. Okay.
What?
We're actually in the process of raising the price right now. Okay. We have universities that are signing up for it and a lot of things that are happening. But if you sign off with watching this show, use half off forever. You can sign up and pay $19.50 forever. You're writing your books and writing poetry books. The artificial intelligence is incredible. Okay. And listen, Donovan, man, I appreciate you. Any other questions, guys, go to anthonyjoyner.com, ANTHONYJOINER.com. Donovan, man, I appreciate this, brother.
No, thank you, man. And that's great. Like, he surprised me. I didn't know about the discount. So we're going to see if we can get my video guy to put it like boop, 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 right there with the website and the code. And look, man, I wish you all the best, man. I know this is an incredible system that you've created. And so I just hope it blows up to like the stratosphere, man. I hope everybody takes advantage of it. And I was dead serious. We're going to talk about this voiceover. What's going on, everybody? Thank you so much for joining me and having some fun as we interview some really, really interesting people. So go ahead, like, comment, subscribe, and be on the lookout for more episodes of The How Did Show.